Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We do this every Sunday at 4. Today's special guest, we have Mr. Shane Pittman. Shane, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
I'm so happy to have you here, and you do some things that I am particularly interested in. But let's start from the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born here in Columbus, Georgia. Born and partially raised.
Right.
I was an Army brat, so we moved around a lot. And everywhere from California, Texas, you name it, we were there. Fort Hood, Fort Irwin, which never traveled to Fort Irwin, but yeah, born and pretty much raised here.
Very cool. I guess that answers one of the next questions. What did your parents do? I guess I know what your dad did.
Well, yeah, my dad was in the military. My mother, she was pretty much a housewife. She pretty much took care of us, and that's basically it. But yeah, my father was in the military.
Very cool. What was his rank?
He was a E6. I think it was staff sergeant.
Cool. I'm glad you said that because I have no idea what an E6 is. And my dad was in the military.
Yep, staff sergeant.
Very cool. Now, were your parents like artistic at all?
My father was musically just a little bit. My mother, she can sing, and she's artsy in that way.
Right.
My mother also loves to write, which I think is really cool. I think that's where I got it from, the writing part of things anyway. She's very artistic when it comes to that and very talented. So
what sorts of things does she write?
She loves to write poetry. She loves to, and on her Facebook especially, she'll write these, and I don't want to front her out, but she'll write these long books of different things that's on her mind.
Right.
And she also likes to write in journals and things like that. And she's just very good with her words and expressing herself that way.
That's very cool. So let's go on to you. Where did you pick up the artistic stuff? Now you've are obviously into some really cool things, movies, and even some paranormal stuff. But what got you started?
Well, it was an early age. I've always been interested in anything to do with creativity or entertainment, especially whether it be writing, film, television, anything like that. I've always been highly interested in. It's been a dream of mine to be in the field and do something, you know, whether it be acting or whatever, just doing something that puts me in that field. So early on, I would write when I was younger and teenage years. And then it kind of, life happened and work, kids, you know, wife, and you kind of taper off. And then I started getting more into it as the years went on. And recently what got me into it heavily is I've been working, we did a little paranormal show. You mentioned that. And that was pretty good. And it kind of got me in the whole feel of things and how to, you know, how it all works. And then I linked up with Joshua Purvis, which he's with Lights Out Industries. And he said, "Hey, Shane, you know, I know you write. I'm looking for a post-apocalyptic style film that I want to kind of get involved with and kind of invest in." So I thought about it and I said, okay. And that's where the epidemic stemmed from. And I wrote the concept, the idea of that in about 15 minutes.
Cool.
So of course it's progressed now and there's a lot more involved with it, but the whole concept about 15 minutes. And then from there, things have been taking off. Barrington Productions is another production company I'm working with. Wrote a feature film for them called Sunflower that's going to be starting to be filmed here in probably May. So very exciting stuff, man.
Very exciting stuff. I'm very interested in filmmaking. I'm a musician, but I've recently taken a great interest in that sort of thing. Let's go back a little bit and tell us a little bit about your education as far as getting into it and getting started and learning how to do stuff, learning the ropes.
Well, the education, it's a lot of self-learning, and linking up with people that know their stuff.
Right.
Of course, you can have a passion about something, but if you don't know the behind the scenes, it's pretty pointless. So linking up with people that know their stuff, Joshua Purvis, Barrington Marson, Brett Driver, which is a phenomenal actor, Stacey Carroll, people of that nature, linking up with them, taking knowledge from them,
right,
and applying it to the craft. And I think that's very important. Anybody who wants to be in this field or involved in this type of thing with film or television, link up with people, learn from them, and never consider yourself to be top dog.
Right.
Because this is one of those type of fields where you need to link up with everybody and work alongside them instead of trying to one up the competition, which competition is good, but you got to have a healthy balance.
Right. Yeah. And it's like Lennon and McCartney, they would compete with each other, and they'd write a song, the other one would write a song, and made for great stuff.
Yeah. And actually, Brian, I have a question really quick.
Something from Tim.
We were talking before we went on air about people using on what they had. And Shane was actually telling us, hey, he can make a lot of things work with his iPhone. When you started, what did you start with?
Phones. It was phones. It was small cameras that they recorded. They didn't even record in HD.
Right.
And little flip cameras that little small handheld cameras, and just started with that.
Wow.
And progressed from there. And like I said, the investment in long term, as far as with the cameras, it can get really pricey.
Right.
But again, with networking, if you know people that have these cameras,
right,
then you can then you can get done what needs to be done.
Right.
And work along with them, and it works out in the end. Which with the epidemic, with the film, that's exactly what happened. Joshua Purvis had the equipment, had the know-how, had the capability to get this thing done. And I credit it all to the cast, the crew.
Right.
I mean, yeah, the concept was mine, but without them, it would have never been what it is now. And I'm excited, to where it's going to be going. So,
did you, like some people involved? Did you like, you're talking about using the little flip phones and the tiny little cameras and the phones? Did you start off like? I've done some editing and got some projects, and I started off using Windows Movie Maker, and then you move up to
Windows Live. Yeah. You go ahead.
No, you go, please.
Yeah, you start with that.
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, there's a world out there where it's more complex and you can do a lot more.
Right.
So then you go with Adobe Premiere, Final Cut, things like that, and then you get really involved in the editing process. And editing's fun, but editing can also be a pain, big time, because it's very meticulous, and I've done the editing part of it too. And even with Lights Out, I've done some editing work for him. So involving myself in every aspect of what goes on with film has helped me tremendously. That's why with the acting thing, I want to try to do that a little bit and get that under my belt, so I'll know when I'm directing a film,
right,
what they are feeling, what they're going through, how they're thinking whenever a director is telling them to do something.
Right.
If I don't know that side of it, then I'm, it's only 75% of where I can be in the craft itself. So I'm trying to involve myself in all aspects. And
you're right. Yeah.
You know what I found out, Brian? I actually, when we have guests on the show, I actually try to do a little, background on them and go to their Facebook pages, kind of see what they're interested in and so forth. And I actually was looking at Shane's this morning, and he has a link to a group actually that I had joined, which just they invite you for extras or cast members all over the state of Georgia. And
very cool.
I'd never heard of that. I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, and interesting thing with that too, networking.
Yeah.
All over again. Joshua Purvis again. I know I'm saying his name a lot.
What's up, Joshua?
Yeah, but he linked me up with that group. If it wasn't for him, I would have never been linked up. And it's one where they have to add you to the group.
Gotcha.
So if it wasn't for him, I never would have been involved with that group.
Right.
Okay, guys, you heard it here first. The Walking Dead is not the only thing shooting in the state of Georgia.
That's true.
Yeah, but The Walking Dead is my favorite show.
I saw that.
I just want to put that out there. It's my favorite show. I think the writing is phenomenal. And actually, the show's on tonight, and we're putting a little plug in for that. But I'm excited about it.
We're getting him out of here so he can go home and watch The Walking
Dead. Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to cut the show short if it kind of goes a little long.
Nothing gets in the way of The Walking Dead.
Right.
And it's cool because never before has there been a TV series about zombies.
Yeah,
that I'm aware of.
Well, there's been movies and things like that, but it's moved beyond the zombie part now.
Right.
And now it's character development, and that's where the writers shine, and that's where I think the show really takes off.
Right.
So, I think the zombies are there, but it's not about that anymore.
Right. Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to a little commercial, and we're going to come back and see something really cool while Tim dials it up. Next up, we're going to see some of Shane's work.
Timeless beauty at the Gypsy Cherub, 3760 Woodruff Road, Columbus, Georgia. Class is back in style.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Shane Pittman is our special guest this week, and he has got a very special project. And while Tim dials it up, Shane, tell us the name of this and maybe a quick little thing about what it's about.
It's The Epidemic, and what it's about, essentially, it's a man that has everything thrown at him, and he has a difficult choice to make, whether or not to keep going with his life or just hang it up. So it's basically he has all of these things thrown at him, and he has difficult choices to make, whether to move on or not.
Very cool. Tim, you ready to show us that?
I don't know what to say.
Look, Jim, Stephanie, it's a normal reaction. Cancer diagnosis tends to leave people speechless. But I want you to know that we will be doing everything in our power to get you the best treatments that are out there today.
We're going to get through this, Jim. The doctor seemed optimistic about treatment options.
Yeah, I know. I guess the whole thing just kind of threw me for a loop. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I'm at the doctor's office getting a routine checkup. And next thing you know, I hear I'm dying of cancer.
Stop it, you're not dying. You're just sick. And you're going to get better. The doctor said so himself.
You know, you keep saying that. But how are you so sure? I mean, I was just promoted at my job, for crying out loud. Everything was going good. I mean, baby, we've been talking about having kids sometime soon. I mean, this changes everything. This is the last thing we need right now.
It doesn't matter if we need this right now, Jim. This is what we're going through. You need to fight this instead of wallowing in it. So let's just do what we know to do, and everything will be okay.
Well, it's easy for you to say. But you're right. I'm going to beat this thing. We're going to beat this together. Hey, listen. I don't want you going with me tomorrow.
What? Why? You know how important this is to me. Why don't you want me with you?
It's not that I don't want you with me. I realize how important this is to you. I do. But all you'll be doing is sitting there watching me. It's going to be uncomfortable.
Fine, whatever. But you're calling me as soon as you're through, and don't think this is going to be an everyday thing. I'm going to be with you from here on out.
Yes, ma'am. As you wish.
In a final attempt to control the spread of this virus, scientists have developed a possible antidote. Currently, the success rate is only 15%. We have released this possible cure into the water filtration system. This is the quickest way to disperse this to all involved. If you are not currently experiencing symptoms, this still applies to you as well. We urge everyone to take this experimental drug regardless of if you're infected or not, as it is designed to build immunity towards the virus as well as cure those already infected. Again, the success rate is low, but this is the last and most promising option we have available. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Baby, wake up. Oh, God, no. Stephanie? Wake up, baby. Please, Stephanie, wake up. Come on. Come on, please wake up.
And there you have The Epidemic. So Shane, tell me a little bit about this. You directed it?
I did, and I actually wrote it as well, like we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, from what you just saw, it's about a character, Jim Moore. Him and his wife, in the beginning, find out that he has cancer. And, you know, going through the whole thing of getting treatment.
Right.
And basically, Stacey Carroll's character, which that's Brett Driver and Stacey Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Tucker, which was the reporter. The CDC director was Randy Capes. And Sarah Hansel was the nurse putting
right.
I want to get everybody in there that I can. Basically, Jim Moore, he finds out he has cancer.
Right.
His wife has been the support system throughout the whole thing. Through all of this, they find out, you know, there's an epidemic going on, and a lot of people are losing their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going really rampant. It's picking up steam very, very quickly.
Right.
And through the whole process, the wife ends up contracting it, and she ends up passing instead of, you know, everybody's thinking, okay, he's got
Right.
cancer, he's going to die. And with this whole writing process, it was all about the, you know, how fragile life is.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you think one thing will happen, another thing hits you. And that was the whole thing with the wife
Right.
ending
yeah.
up passing, and she ends up passing, and they say that there's a possible cure
Mm-hmm.
in the water filtration system that the scientists have released. And that's why you see him with the water going. And by the time he gets back, he's taking care of her. She's already deathly ill,
Right.
taking care of her. He goes back and finds out she's passed on. And at the end of the film, he chooses to, you know, you see it's 2 weeks later. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's already drinking the water, but is that visual there is showing, okay, I'm at least going to try to
Right.
move on with my life, cancer or not. I'm moving on. Now, the second part that's going to be coming out sometime soon, I don't know an exact date yet. It's going to fill in the blanks of how the wife contracted the virus,
Right.
what the virus is a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
what happens to Jim
Right.
after he
right.
walks off. So there's going to be a lot of fill in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I wrote it that way and we had it directed that way is to get people scratching their heads and asking, what in the world is this? I know there was one question. We had a panel at the Middle Georgia Con in Macon, and we showed the film there,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the premiere, actually. And we had somebody say, hold on a minute. They're saying not to go outdoors, but the CDC director and the reporters outside. I said, well, because it's an epidemic, it's not a pandemic yet. So they're in an area where it's not
Right.
yet
yeah.
reached. It's in local rural parts at first,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll see later on it picks up steam and
Right.
a lot more. But that's why I wrote it that way, to pique people's interest and be like, okay, I want to see more, which we've had a lot of that.
Very good.
We've had a lot of that so far. So that was the goal, and I'm happy with it now because, you know, it's piquing interest, and we're going to release the second part, third part.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And let's talk about timing. How was are they going? This was like 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be? The next part's going to be longer, or is it going to be in 6 minutes?
It's going to be 20 to 30 minutes.
Gotcha.
So because we have a lot of questions to answer.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, it's going to be longer, especially now that we see that there's an interest there of, hey, what happened?
Right.
I want to see a part 2, a part 3. So it's going to be longer because of that. Yeah.
That's very cool. One question I'd like to ask is and for the people who might not know, what goes into shooting a thing like this?
A lot. On the surface, you're like, okay, there's a couple shots and it's done.
Right.
But behind the scenes, there's so much that goes into it. And that's leading back to what I said before with the cast and the crew. If it wasn't for them and everything that they did, it would not have happened at all. So a lot goes into it. We filmed the majority of it in one day.
Right.
But that was from, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning to 11:30 midnight, and you're working and working and working. And then we had to do some follow-up, some small things on a second day, but the majority of it was done in a day. And when you're doing that, there's people that are tired.
Yeah.
They've been doing multiple takes of scenes. Now, it's not just you record it once and you're done.
Right. Not at
You're
all.
you're doing it multiple times, and you're having different angles.
Mm-hmm.
And even if the first take is perfect, you have to do it again for the other actor or actress to get their part in.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes into it. It's the finished product I love, but the process itself is very drawn out. It could be tedious, but it's rewarding as well, because you get to see people's talent and their craft and what they do. And that makes it so much more rewarding for me, is seeing what they do and what they contribute to what I call my baby, so to speak.
Right. Did you I'm assuming that everybody who was in the movie was all a pleasure to work with and professional, or did you have any divas?
No, thankfully no divas. No divas. They are the best that I've worked with so far. They are phenomenal, and all of them. And I wish I can name them all off. The person who did the score for the film, the music, that was his first time doing a score. He's a musician, Jason Bevel. He's a musician, and he's been around the scene for a while. But first time he did the score, and the first time we premiered the film to the panel, we had so many compliments on, man, the score. I like the music. I like how it flowed with different things. And just had a lot of talented people, man. A lot of talented people that would give their all and didn't request anything in return. They would have done all of this for free, just because of the type of people they are. Not saying I wanted them to do that.
Right.
But the type of people they are,
Strong
phenomenal people, and I would recommend them anywhere. They're top-notch professional people. So
very, very cool. I'm glad to hear that. Sometimes you see something and you have beloved characters and you find out the actor's a jerk. It's always nice to know that that's not the case.
Oh no, they are complete opposite of that. They're genuinely excellent people.
Very cool. I tell you what, let's check out another commercial, and we'll be back to talk about some more of what you got going on coming up and all that good stuff.
Cool.
Hello, I'm Catherine Childry with Let's Vocalize. For over 35 years, I've coached vocalists and groups privately. I also perform vocal workshops training choirs. I'd love the opportunity to show you how direction, discipline, vocal health care, and regular practice can drastically improve you, your group, or your choir's performance. Call me at 706-536-6123 or visit us online at www.letsvocalize.com. I'd love to help you offer your best gift.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Special guest Shane Pittman. Awesome work. I'd like to go into one thing. Just how many things do you do as far as in this industry? Because you've talked about earlier taking part of the editing, all that stuff. Just how much could you shoot an entire movie, assuming there were 5 of you, by yourself?
I could, with the help of other people. Right. Not just them doing it per se, but their knowledge and their expertise. I wouldn't even try to do it by myself, because there's one way that I would think would be perfect and everybody would like what I put out there. But that's my opinion. Right. If I don't have other people telling me, hey, Shane, you need to tone down on this and do this, or why don't you try this, then it would not be worth doing. I think collaboration in this field is key.
And that's why Shane has all that lovely black hair that I wish I had.
well, when you
learned how to delegate.
Well, when you get older, you have to just for men all this stuff, you know, especially when you have kids and a wife.
Yeah.
You you definitely have to just for men that
Right.
to get that dark fullness there. But yeah, I participate in the editing, directing, writing, screenplay writing is one thing that I'm heavenly well, that too, I guess, but heavily involved with.
Cool.
I've written feature length that I said is going to be starting the filming process soon. I'm working on some TV pilots.
Very cool.
And things of that nature with Lights Out Industries. We're working alongside each other to try to get that done. So be looking for that as well. That's going to be coming up fairly soon. A lot of projects in the work. A lot of it is behind the scenes writing right now.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of writing, and you know, just keep moving forward. Hopefully it's, you know, more come of it, which I think it will, because I'm working with the right people. So.
I certainly think so. And the quality of the work is undeniable.
Thank you.
I always ask the question, where would you like to see yourself in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? What's your ultimate goal?
Well, my ultimate goal would be to be in this field of film and television full time, right? You know, because we've got day jobs and things of that nature. So I would like the film industry, the entertainment industry, to be my day job, or my night job, or whatever, to do it full time, because it's a passion of mine that I don't think I ever go away anytime soon. And whenever, you know, you wouldn't consider that a job if it's something you're passionate about. Your passion, it's not a job, it's just something you get to do, and you're getting paid for it, and you know, all that comes with it. And ultimately that's what I want to do. And I think that's with anybody, you know, people watching too, is, you know, you ultimately want to do what you want to do, and the pay is just a plus at that point.
Exactly.
Because
and you know, that is the thing, that one of the things that we want to do here at the show is to bring people forth. There is, and I haven't used this word in 3 weeks, so I've got to, a plethora of talent around this area.
There is, and I think it's the Columbus area, or the people in it, they're underestimated. There's a lot of talent, musical talent. I have a brother-in-law we were talking about, Caleb. Gamble. Excellent, man. Excellent. I mean, just musicians around here, excellent people, a lot of talent. I think we're underestimated, but I think with the show, you're bringing that out. And I think that's really cool. You're letting people see the local talent here. And I think it's really
definitely
that's actually our pleasure too, because we actually get to enjoy you guys.
Well, but hey, I think it's cool. I think, you know, this show will just keep moving forward, and especially when you're highlighting the people in Columbus and the surrounding areas, because there's a lot of good people here. There's some that are not so good, but there's a lot that are. So,
well, nobody ever gets up here without being down here.
That's true. That's true.
And this show is my personal networking tool.
There you go.
But now, one thing I'd like to say, I'd like to get from you what advice you would give to aspiring filmmaking people.
Don't give up. One of the main things, and especially with the writing part of it, is you would question yourself, is this good enough? You're always going to be your own worst critic. That's bar none. You're always going to be that way. But don't give up. See, whatever you start, finish. There's a lot of people that start things, but the difference between the unsuccessful people and the successful people is the people who finish, cross the finish line. If you don't cross the finish line, you're still in the race. You're still, even if you're down and out for the count, get up, finish what you start. That's how you'll be successful. With me, with writing, I've written a lot of things. Oh, this is just no good. But finally, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to finish it. Turns out, you know, there's something to it, something I can do, something that somebody can help me with that can make it what it needs to be. So don't give up. Keep moving. finish what you start, and don't second guess yourself. Believe you can do it and do it.
Now, two last things real quick. One is, what was the biggest obstacle you faced in memory of either this movie or anything that you've done? Because people always face obstacles, and sometimes it helps to hear somebody else's story. Mm-hmm. What has been your biggest obstacle?
Myself. Questioning, is this good? Will people like this? And it's been myself. And I think with a lot of people, you're your biggest obstacle.
Right.
You can do what you want to do, ultimately, within reason. I mean, if you want to be superhuman and fly, it's most likely not going to happen. But if you want to do something, you want to go out there, you want to make a film, or you want to make more money, you're in control of that.
Right.
Within means, you can make that happen. You can come up with creative ideas to make that happen. But the people that stop themselves ultimately is not other people. We like to blame other people.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's ourselves. And if we can get past that, then the sky's the limit at that point.
Well, I'll tell you what, as Tim dials up the end credits, let's get into a box. All the information where people can find you, can find The Epidemic, can find any other projects that you want people to find. Okay,
the best way to do that is on Facebook. Just look me at Shane.Pittman.75. So Facebook.com/Shane.Pittman.75. You can find me there. Also, if you look up on Facebook, The Epidemic, The Epidemic Show, you'll see everything there. You can come follow us there. That's the best way. Social media, @Starring Shane on Twitter, @Starring Shane. You can find me there, and I post a lot of things
very cool.
Relating to what we're doing too. So
excellent.
And if you want to get with Shane directly, or you didn't get all the information that he just provided, go to the page, the show, and we'll have a replay of this interview, and you can play it as many times as you want to and get that info.
Cool.
Exactly. Well, Shane, I really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Been very informative and entertaining for me, because I'm really like this sort of thing, and hope it has been for you too. I'm your host, Brian Mallard. Until next time, see you later for the show.
That's a wrap.